for takeoff.
We are cleared for takeoff.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the place where real dialogue matters.
Make some noise for that sound, man.
It is time to take flight with Audio Airstrike.
So you were telling me that Tristan and his brother Andrew Tate are brought up on charges of allegedly, well, pretty much confirmed at this point, trafficking and also hitting up underage girls, having this weird obsession with, like, trigger alert, this weird obsession with sleeping with virgins, taking people's virginity and stuff of that nature.
Left and right, up the dial.
That is wild.
Up the dial. Well, the funniest thing is it's confirmed by them. Right, so it's not just like it's someone else coming out with this, right? This is all recorded footage of Tristan and Andrew talking about taking virginities, talking about DMing 15, 16, 17-year-old girls with weird cryptic messages and trying to get them involved in the money laundering scheme, the sex cam business scheme. I think those two overlap. But, yeah, it's a lot more stuff now. I believe they're back in prison, and they are awaiting a sentence now. So they should have – well, this video, I don't know how long ago that video was from, but – they should be out now on bail, I'd imagine. But I think the general vibe is that the government is kind of making a case, a dossier on them now.
So let me get this straight. And I really want to just kind of focus in on this.
Yeah.
So there are people that have been watching these two, have been admiring these two, literally putting their life perspective based on these two individuals that are openly saying this on camera, but there are people that are doing that. You know, every internet influencer figure online has a bunch of group of stands. It don't matter who it is.
Well, the dangerous thing about Andrew Tate was that he came off as very confident and charismatic at first, that he was able to make people laugh pretty easily with the crazy stuff that he said. So he kind of had this moment where he was ingratiated into the public, and then the more stuff came out, the more you saw that he was kind of doing this thing over here with the trafficking. He was teaching young men how to I mean, there was Hustlers University. Now, I'm not, to be fair, and I've never bought and I never will buy Hustlers University. I'm not quite sure.
Please don't buy
don't do
Please
that.
don't.
It's not good. It's not. It doesn't teach you how to be a real man. Let's just say.
Save your money.
So I wouldn't claim to know the contents of Hustlers University, but what I will say is that we know now that there's all these clips coming out talking about him, again, having relations with these underage girls, explaining the process of how to kind of manipulate and gaslight women into joining your I guess, MLM scheme, like a money laundering. I mean, listen, I don't even know the half of what this guy's indicted for, but the stuff that I do know, the stuff that he himself has admitted to on camera, is damning to say the least. I mean, talking about 14, I think he said something about a famous Instagram model taking her virginity at 17, which, depending on where you're from, I think could either be legal or not legal. Not really
just
the point.
Weird.
Also,
it's just weird all the way around, because why are you saying this on camera?
On camera.
Why are you admitting it?
Yeah.
Why are you recording it? And then you turn around and do all of this extra stuff and then tell other people that it's okay to do it.
Yeah, no.
That's
I was
going
to say, I don't want to make it seem like I don't think. It obviously goes without saying.
Thinking that.
No, I know. But I'm saying, like, obviously laws don't always dictate morality, and morality doesn't always dictate laws, right? So the fact that he was talking to a 17-year-old when he was much older is weird in itself. I mean, it's giving me Cody Co vibes, except way more sinister. The fact that he was bragging on camera about taking that girl's virginity and how it felt good, it hurt for her, but it felt good for him because he knew he could have something that no other guy was going to get. I mean, you think about the layers of how messed up that is. First off, it's creating a commodity out of a person, right? Second off, it's having sex with a 17-year-old and taking her virginity. Right, maybe that goes first on the death chart of fucked up stuff. You're making
her virginity out to be a collector's item.
It's really, I mean, he's doing that.
It's like a special edition collector's item. That is so weird. You want to know who else did that to a degree? Who I compare that to? Epstein. You know who else I compare that to?
Who?
R. Kelly.
R. Kelly did that. Yeah,
these are things that I'm just like, I can't sit over there and hear that. Like, you got to think, as a fan, I'm sitting there. Let's say somebody's a fan of Andrew Tate, and you hear him say that on more than one occasion. You telling me that in your brain, in your mind, you're not sitting there thinking, whoa, now, hold on. Let's pause this for a second.
I think
You said,
the most dangerous thing is that the kids that watch him aren't going to have that thing in their brain to say, like, I have enough life experience to know that, to critically challenge what I hear from a certain figure that I watch, right? Because we're at the point now our brains are developed. My mind's still got another year to go before it's fully developed. But we're both at the point where we have enough wherewithal and we have enough brain power to say, okay, I could watch this from Andrew Tate and be like, wait, that is completely out of line. For a lot of these kids watching him, it's like, oh, yeah, there are girls that I know that are that age, and, like, this guy's having sex with them. You know, oh, this guy must be so cool. So it's weird, you know, like, they don't have that thing in their brains to say, this isn't okay, this is weird, right? And so that's where I think his most dangerous, or the most dangerous aspect of his audience comes through, is in his ability to dictate the way young men see the world, right? Because, I mean, you talk about anything else, and of course, you know, people will say, well, he talks about the virtues of going to the gym, of making money, of making yourself a better person. Sure,
Yeah, but
all those things are good, but
there's plenty of influencers that say
that
but
and
aren't
they don't
doing
fuck
it.
17-year-olds.
Right.
Sorry to...
That's the thing.
You know, they don't talk about taking a 17-year-old's virginity like they packed him in FIFA Ultimate Team. Like, what are we talking about right now?
There's plenty of influencers, older and younger, that don't do that heinous stuff and talk about the same thing. And y'all follow this man to the ends of the earth like his opinion matters. It's weird, it's dangerous, and it's wrong. I'm going to say this. I don't care what age you are. You really have to be mindful as to who you're following and what they're saying. And also, for those of you that are older, give people the game of being careful about who they follow. Like, hey, if they're saying this, we don't agree with this. If they're saying this, that goes against, regardless as to where your beliefs are and stuff of that nature, there is some things that universally are just pretty messed up. Like, you shouldn't be doing, you shouldn't be saying.
I think, well, to me, it's like if my son was watching Andrew Tate, I mean, that would just be something. I almost feel like, and it comes down a little bit to the parents too, right? Like, why are you exposing your kids to that? But yeah, if my son was watching Andrew Tate, I mean, that would be an immediate.
Yeah, we changing the channel.
Yeah,
we're turning the whole thing
taking away. I never want to be. I've thought about this a lot. When I become a father, I don't want to be the guy that's constantly restricting my kids' access to things that they love, because I think that breeds a lot of resentment. If I did see a guy like Andrew Tate on that kid's phone, I will take his phone, or I will take, if it's a daughter, her phone. It's just, there's so much downside and negative effects that this guy has, right? And he's not even, it's the thing that his heyday was back in, like, what, 2020, 2021, or 2022. He's not even that influential or popular anymore.
It's funny how fast that goes, because I remember 2020, we were all in the pandemic still, but I remember hearing his name just ring off, and then 4 years later, it's like I don't hear the name ringing off as much. But when you say that name, it stirs up a lot of controversy.
It does. It always does. And he always will. I mean, that's the kind of the career that he's lived. And I almost wonder, you know, what emboldened him to say stuff like that and to go on camera. It's kind of what you were talking about. It's like, why would he feel comfortable with doing that?
You want to know why?
Go ahead, Ed.
You have money.
Uh-huh.
You talk with confidence.
Heard that.
Fast cars, fast life. Everybody gets hypnotized by the fast life, nice women, fancy cars, upper echelon of life. Everybody gets hypnotized by that at some point. I'm not making excuses for that.
No, I'm not saying you're making excuses, but what made him feel like that wouldn't come back to bite him?
When you think you're Teflon. When you get to a certain level of fame, and a certain level of notoriety, and a certain level of influence, I hate how influence is being used now, but when you get to that level, you think you're untouchable. This man was on camera talking about, oh, what they going to do? Send me to jail? I'll just pay my way out. When you get to that higher level of, oh, I think I can do everything I want because I'm famous and I'm rich and I got money, who going to say something to me? That's where the fall comes. I guess
if you got skeletons in your closet, I get to understand that, right? Like, if you did something, if you're let's just say there's allegations against, who's good, like Brad Pitt, right? Brad Pitt, there's allegations that he has beat his wife and his kids. I don't know if you knew that, right? If I'm him, I'd feel confident that, you know, oh, I'm doing well. Like, that stuff's not widely reported on. He never came out and said it on camera, though. That's the thing. It's like, he must feel, and I think you're right. I think he feels like he was at a point where he had enough money, he had enough fame, he had enough power to where he could be doing all these things and talking about them on camera. But my goodness, are you giving the feds a layup? Because that's what it feels like. They must have been compiling a case. And we watched the Album and Preach video before recording this. They talked about that. I mean, they've got him now on sex trafficking, on money laundering, and now I'm assuming on underage. I mean, they could light him up like a Christmas tree. And I think they should, and they probably will, honestly. I mean, the stronger case they could build, the better for those big bureaus to lock this guy away for a long, long time.
And I hate to break it to you, but y'all that get a RICO charges, it ain't how it used to be in the 80s and 90s or 70s when there were less cameras. Technology was not as well as it was now.
Couldn't talk about.
There is phone records. There is location. Y'all got location on your phones. Y'all have, oh my God, y'all have also text messages. Y'all got leaks that happen. Like, we're in a day and age, you can't just go to a bank and just rob it without it being recorded on somebody's phone or camera somewhere, even on a street camera. What makes y'all think y'all gonna get away with this stuff?
I just know the feds were like punching the air when they were like, they saw that video, they were like, let's fuck it. You know what I mean? They must have been so ecstatic.
Bruh, them feds are gonna act like Tom Brady in the fourth quarter.
I know. It's gonna
By
be.
the time they done with them.
Well, no, Tom Brady, if he played at like a high school level, like you pluck Tom Brady in his prime in a high school game. That's the easiness.
That's
the
Feds.
ease.
That's
and
the feds.
That's the because that's the ease in which they're gonna. If we're talking basketball, they just blew past two defenders. They got an open layup. All they got to do is not smoke it. Mm-hmm. You know, he lit it. If I'm a federal agent. And the crazy thing is, and I don't claim to know about how to compile a case or criminal law or anything. You have an admission to all these things on camera when he says it, Evan, plain English. He goes, this is how I launder my money. This is how I took a 17-year-old's virginity. This is how I was having sex with 15 to 16-year-olds. He lays it out. All you got to do if you're a Fed is just lay it into the cup. That's all you got to do. You got open space. It's crazy.
I'm going to be honest with you, and I know this pretty. I'm just saying, y'all are dumb and stupid. I don't understand why y'all would say that on camera, knowing it's going to be recorded, knowing people are going to take sound bites from that, knowing that other influencers are going to hear that, and the second that something happens to y'all, that is open evidence for people to comment on, share, like, comment, and subscribe to that. This is what I'm talking about, bro. It's the blind leading the blind, literally clear as day. I don't understand. Why are y'all following goofy dudes like this? And then when they get hit with this, then y'all sitting there looking stupid. I'm going to be honest with you. A lot of who you are, people will look at who you are being influenced by. And if you're not careful, you're going to be almost guilty by association, right? It's no different than going to a bar, right? Let's say your friend is acting erratic, right? Your friend is acting erratic, drinking, stuff like that. Oh my God, it's terrible. Do y'all realize that sometimes when you go out and that friend is acting that way, that friend technically to a degree, if he don't change up his act, is making y'all look bad to the point you are guilty based on association. Oh, you're with him? This the man you with? This the girl you with? Da-da-da-da-da-da. We ain't even talking about on some relationship stuff. We talking about y'all all friends and y'all just platonically going to hang out as a group.
Yeah, I think when Tates first came on the scene, nobody really knew. That's the only possible realistic, I guess, reality in where he would go on all these people's shows and they somehow. I can't imagine, I should say, another reality in which these people wouldn't know about this stuff, or that they would know about this stuff, and still invite them on the shows. I can't, because he's hung out with UFC fighters. He went on Tom Segura's podcast. All these people, and maybe I'm just too much of an optimist. I refuse to believe that they knew this stuff and still willingly had him on. So I think it played a little bit into that too, where it's like these allegations, right? He got famous for the ideals that he's very much so an ideologue. You know, in that he's preaching this lifestyle about cars, money, women, like you said at the beginning of the show. I have cars, money, women, all this stuff, and being a boss, and it's a very flashy thing. A lot of guys bought into it. A lot of people in general bought into it because he has good delivery. He's a good orator. He's a good speaker, and I think it was more so that took precedence, that took the front seat over all this other stuff. Although, again, he was stating it in plain English. Back then, I think it was probably more of the hardcore fans. Again, the boys. Because, men don't respect a guy that I think he amassed some of his wealth, obviously, through the cam business and scamming and frauding lonely men out of their money, but also flipping casinos, which is another widely considered to be dirty practice.
Yep.
Right? Real men don't respect that. Right? So it had to be boys. It had to be impressionable young men that... I mean, if you think about it, dude, like, Tate is the ultimate... Like, if a 14-year-old boy was like, wow, I wish that I could bring in the ideal man into the world, it would be Andrew Tate. The guy wears suits, fucks chicks, drives cars, and doesn't care about anything.
Well,
that's what a 14-year-old thinks is cool.
Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. The chicks he messing with, I don't even know can get a driver's license yet. That's
exactly. See, a 14-year-old boy is like,
saying.
I want. A 14-year-old boy is like, I want to be this type of man who gets to have sex with girls my age, drive cars, wear suits. It's Andrew Tate. It makes perfect sense.
Don't forget his brother too. Now, oh my God,
Tristan Tate. Yeah, I mean he's another like psychopath, and it's funny now because there's so many knob slobbers, right?
Just very cringe.
Still defending them, and it's so stupid. He talks about the Matrix. It's like, bro, the Matrix. If there really is some sort of a world government that's trying to get you, what the fuck? Why would you state the stuff that you've done so that it makes it easier for these agents to come and find you? Right? Like, even if we're going the dumb shit that they say that there's somehow, like, the entire world or the world order, the Illuminati has been, like, going after him, you're giving them layups all the same. Right? So, it's to me, it's just, like, it's dumb. It's an interesting... I think we should look at this and hopefully... this guy probably won't go down in the history books, honestly, seeing how far and long he's been, or far he's fell and how long he's been out of the public eye now and how quickly he kind of just evaporated from everyone's
but isn't
minds.
that
I don't think it goes down in the history books, but and I don't mean to cut you off, but I think this will be a good kind of litmus test to see how much of an influence a really, really skilled orator can have over people. Like someone that's insanely charismatic. We've seen it with Hitler. And I'm not comparing him to Hitler because he's not on Hitler's level, but I'm saying like other guys in history, you can be charismatic and evil at the same time. Mm-hmm. And I think this is another instance of a guy that's really charismatic and uses that power for bad instead of good.
The way I look at this is, right, it's kind of crazy to me how the level of vetting a star or vetting an influencer these days is almost kind of like watching like a star that shines bright but only for a moment. Before there was a little bit more staying power. I think because of social media, and this is a positive thing, I think because of social media to a degree, we are able to uncover things faster. Yeah. We are able to look into things and be like, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. Versus way back when, there was a lot more mystique that you could do because not everybody had their cell phone on their cameras.
Right. Well,
not everybody had Facebook. Social media wasn't prevalent yet.
Right.
I remember when people only had MySpace. MySpace was the biggest thing at one point.
What?
So people only had a certain level of, window into these people's lives. Now with social media, you are forced as an influencer to go out and put yourself out there because you have to connect to people on a rapid basis.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you say that because a lot of people talk about the fact that social media is absolutely the new news. And I think that's the case, right? When you think about the reason that newspapers, and news outlets were made in the first place was to provide a system. Well, checks and balances were already also in the government, of course, but it was to protect the public, keep the public's best interests in mind, to say, hey, this bill's coming along. Hey, this is happening. This is it. Social media, in a way, is that for famous people, right? Like you talk about cancel culture all the time, and I know that's something that the guys on the right and Tates and all those guys, like, they absolutely hate that. But it does, when you cancel the right guy, you can't help but feel like, all right, there is at least some positive aspects, right? We shouldn't go around canceling everyone, right? If a guy said some foul shit years and years and years ago, it's like, okay, well, we got to give that guy the space to become a better human being. At least I think. But in these types of situations, or in like the situations of a Harvey Weinstein, a Jeff Epstein, it is critical for cancellations and mass, I guess, takedowns to take place, right? Because like without these people dredging up these clips, Andrew Tate could just continue to control the narrative around his name, which is that you should drive fast cars and do all these things. And to your point, Ev, the only reason we know about any of this stuff is because people went in and did the math, the research. And all these YouTubers went in and compiled videos.
Well, the reason why we do know about it is because these brothers snitched on themselves. They literally.
Well, they also again they did
the arrogance of it all.
They handed everyone the keys to their own demise.
They said to the feds, "Hey, cuff me." Literally, that's what they said.
Yeah, I mean, you almost hope like to be the Fed that works on this case, and just to know that you're gonna take down an influencer that's like also hyper evil. It's got to be the best feeling ever. Like, dude, wait till I haul him into the
get this
precinct.
trash off the streets. Get his goofy $5 behind off the streets. We don't want him on here. He's a terror. He's a terrorist. He's sitting over there destroying people's lives, causing more trauma for generations to come. That's what this dude is.
Well, it's hilarious because it's also he destroyed so many men's lives, and he claims to be the guy that's for men the most, right? But he's openly, again, if you want to talk about literally cuffing yourself and handing yourself over here with evidence, I mean, he's talked about defrauding men openly. He's talked about taking men's loneliness and capitalizing off of it openly, right? He's set up this, in my personal opinion, and maybe some people disagree with me, and I'd be willing to kind of move my viewpoint on this certain aspect of what he preaches, but the whole thing where it's like happiness comes from money, cars, and how many women you have sex with, and you have to understand women by having sex with as many as you can, but then you also want this pure untouched girl. Like, that to me is all kind of a smokescreen, and it's setting a lot of guys up to live in this delusion. So that's another thing too. But there's just so much I feel personally to dislike this guy about.
Well, also, there's a lot of cap to it. A lot of influencers, I hate to say this, when it comes to influencers, social media personalities, there is always a product to sell.
Yeah.
There is always a product to sell. You're selling yourself. You have a product that you want to push, whether it be an ideal, whether it be a certain product. It could be a manual, a booklet, whatever it is. It could be a course. How many times have you come across ads where somebody acts like an authoritative figure over a particular subject, and then they give you a little nugget, but it's like, hey, if you want to follow for more tips, but also I have this ebook, or I have this product, or I have this thing, or I have this thing I'm trying to push. Those. And also, it's going to be $500 to $1,000 by the time you get through everything that you got to pay for.
Yeah, that's only in the
However, I will say this. I have issue with people blatantly manipulating the public. And I'm not even going to get started on to what I see in the political realm. I'm just talking about the influencer realm and social media.
Yeah.
Y'all, at some point, the pendulum is going to swing when the audience is getting sick and tired of being manipulated. At some point, the pendulum is going to swing where people are going to be like, you know what? I'm tired of listening to people that say they got it all together. I'm tired of people telling me I have a road and I go down that road and it ain't really nothing but a cul-de-sac. I'm tired of it. They want genuineness. They want realness. You want to know why Speed is successful? You want to know why Casa not as successful? As many goofy, like, funny skits that they do or whatever they put together, or when they say something funny on camera, there's a relatability. There is a sense of genuineness when you see them. There is a sense of, these brothers are really like genuine and solid. That's part of the reason why they got this big following they do. And they put the years in. They wasn't selling a whole bunch of products at the gate. They built the community up, and now they're two of the most successful streamers that we know.
Well, it's also, I mean, and this is what I want to say. I think, one, a lot of people in my generation don't go for those courses. It's funny in that, like, it's a lot of guys that are older in their 50s and 60s. You'll see them enroll in, like, the, who's that bald car salesman that's jacked? I can't remember his name. But he does that a lot. He does like the $500,000 course, and it's fucking, and you go there and you're trying to sell cars, but somehow you end up doing a 3-minute plank where he's yelling at you, and he's like, "You got to be hyper ripped to sell cars." Like that type of dumb stuff. I feel like not many people in my generation or these days are willing to bite the bullet on that as much as maybe they used to, or as much as maybe the older generations are. I think another thing to remember is the fact that like these people, if they are selling a course like that, it's never about the YouTube channel, right? So it's that one thing to keep in mind if you're a younger person watching this is if you see some sort of a book, like Everett said, where it's $500, if you see some sort of a course that you can enroll in, where it's I don't know, how to become a better influencer, or how to 10x your money in 10 months. Understand that person is not the focus is not to make a video. The focus is promoting that scam fraudster course. And so I really think it's like, when we talk about influencers, if an influencer has that book, I might be a little bit more, how do I say, charitable, right? Than if it's, I could see, for instance, when it's just like for instance, there's this guy MLD, right? And it's a guy, he talks about, I forget what book he has, but I know he has a book out about how to be a more virtuous man or something. And keep in mind, this guy has had lipo, he's had, I think, like veneers put in, hair transplant. So like a guy that doesn't follow anything that he says, right? But he's, running all these courses, he's having these online conferences, and it's all a circle jerk for nothing, right? So just keep that in mind, right? A lot of these people, some of them don't want to necessarily be famous or be these widely recognized figures. Sometimes it's just that they want to promote this course where, they can make money. Because a lot of it, you said it right after, like some people are selling ideas, right? I'm trying to sell people on the fact that, you come to me when you want to watch someone talk about MMA. You want to watch them talk about it with a critical eye, you go to my channel. Some people are literally selling a course. Some people are selling a book. So it's all about, I think, watching with a critical eye what people are really, really trying to sell you and reframing sometimes a video. Because I think a lot of younger kids would fall for that, right? People will literally build a fake video. I've seen it where they're reacting to stuff, where they're doing this at the third, and it's all to set up the lob into that course. It's honestly, it's crazy to me.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because I hate to say it, but it's the get rich quick scheme of the 2020s. That's literally what it is.
It's funny because I don't even know if you asked Andrew personally on the inside, what his objectives were. I don't even doubt the fact that he probably wouldn't even say, "I didn't want to become famous." He'd probably say, "I was just trying to make more money off this I forget what it's called, Hustlers University stuff."
Yeah, let's keep it a whole stack. You really think you're gonna get any genuine answer from somebody who's that into himself?
No, I'm not. I don't think I would get a but like, let's just say you could, right? I'm saying hypothetically. I think he would probably be quicker to say that. Yeah, I'm just trying to sell this course, rather than like if you asked him, "Oh, hey, do you actually want to like espouse really good ideas that'll help young men, or do you really want to be like this public figure that people look up to?" I think he'd probably just say, "Hey, I want to make way more money than I'm already making," which is a lot.
Yeah, but at what cost, though?
I'm not arguing the fact that it's
no.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, but that's where I would challenge him. I'm not necessarily challenging you.
Well, the cost to him doesn't matter, and that's where what you say comes in, where it's like he's not a genuine guy. Right. He's not going to be a guy that's going to say, "Okay, well, if I market this to my fans, what's going to be the outcome? Is it going to alienate young men from women? Is it going to because there's so many guys, and I've seen this on stream clips too, kids, I shouldn't say guys, but kids that come up and are like, kill gay people, women should be in the kitchen. It's like, it really is, and I'm not going to claim that he's ruined a whole generation of young boys, but I should only hope that that's a small subsection, and that was like, what I saw on that stream was the exception to the rule, because if it's not, dude, our next generation is cooked. And I feel bad for the women, and I feel bad for the kids too, because they don't know better. They see this guy, and he's trying to profit off of them, and they're getting their minds completely warped as to what a healthy relationship looks like. This is a guy that's beat women on camera, and has had people threaten to beat the girls that work under him in his cam business if they don't work. Had someone else do it.
this is the problem, man. Like, we are in a day and age where people think right is wrong and wrong is right. And you got these influencers that come out of the woodworks, similar to Andrew Tate or whoever, similar to Tristan or whoever, and they just start doing a whole bunch of rhetoric on some alpha male or just straight up, I'm an alpha human being that can do these things. I can get away with these things. And if you follow me, you can be in my position too. They sell you this fake delusional dream, and they want you to follow them. And the problem is that for those of you who are doing it, you are following these two idiots off a freaking cliff. And it's not going to be any good for you because, yeah, you may not catch a RICO, but you're not going to get a job. You're not going to get something. You're not going to get a job. Your livelihood's going to be threatened. And then people are not going to look to you and be like, you know what? We should use him. No, they're going to be like, no, did you see that video where he said this? He
said kill all gay people?
Yeah, like, did you see that? We can't have that in our business. We have a whole HR department. We have a whole host of...
We got gay people working here.
Right. We have a whole bunch of influencers. We have a whole bunch of different people. We have a conglomerate of people coming from all different nationalities, races, different genders, this and that. We cannot have somebody coming to our place of work and acting that way. And also, think about it. If you do become a big enough influencer after all that crap, you're not getting any endorsement deals. Oh, he said that? Yeah, we're not endorsing him. That's $10 million down the drain. That's $1 million down the drain. For some people, all these endorsement deals, that could be the bulk of the money coming in. You ain't even got to charge the fan base. You can literally get a whole lot of money just off the endorsement deal. But because you want to do something stupid that you ain't had no business doing, now you sitting over here dealing with every last penalty, can't get a job, and now your livelihood's down the drain because you went and followed those people down a damn cliff. It don't make no kind of sense.
You know what? Let me put you on a game real quick, Ev, because I just realized the cycle that's probably going to start forming is that these young men, who, by the way, don't have any of the influences the influence and the resources that both Tates have, are going to take this advice. Like you said, they're not going to be able to get accepted into jobs. They're going to be alienated here and there. I mean, we've seen it at some of the red pill influencers like Sneeko. There was a point where he wasn't invited over to his house for Christmas because of the rhetoric he was spewing, right? And then in turn, it's only going to make them close themselves off more to normalcy, right? Because they're going to sit there and say, well, why can't I get a job at Microsoft? Well, it's cancel culture. This is what Andrew Tate was talking about, right? They don't want to see me succeed because I'm being myself. When in reality, it is about being civil, right? And we're going to call, I bet that there's going to be Andrew Tate fans in the comments calling us like two officers of the Matrix here. But I can already see the cycle that's kind of forming here where he is breeding the next Andrew Tates of the world. And from them, more Andrew Tates will come because that's just how some ideologies work. It is a very kind of self-fulfilling prophecy. A lot of these kids are going to end up bitter, are going to end up having to turn to illegal ways to make money because, as you said, they're not going to be able to go through some of the normal institutions that we have in this world because there was a video of them when they were 15, 16 saying, kill all gay people. It is going to be, like I said, a big loop, and that's probably the saddest part about all of this.
It's one thing to be canceled unfairly. It's another thing to bring it on yourself.
Oh, I mean, bring it on yourself, and then there's no other way to just parrot the talking points to more people, right? So it's kind of like an infection, if you think about it. It's scary stuff, man.
But there always is, to a degree, an antidote to the infection. There always needs to be people that say, hey, you're hearing this on the internet, you're hearing this online. Understand that the internet is the internet for a reason, and this is the reason why. This is what happens on the internet.
Antidote is beating your son.
The internet is that too.
If my son says kill all gay people, I'm gonna put him through a table.
If I hear any hateful rhetoric to a degree, it's one thing if he's asking questions, being like, "Oh, what's happening here? What's this? What's that? Like, why is this going on? What's this? What that?" But if you're just running around just saying hateful stuff on the internet, just to say hateful stuff on the internet, and you starting to believe that stuff, oh yeah, come over here. Yeah, we need to have a conversation.
I'm gonna drop him down in the middle of a pride parade.
If you do it again, it's gonna be a problem. But I wouldn't even do that, to be honest with you, because if he says that, at the parade. That's just.
Then he'll get the normal. Hey, by the way, and this is what I'm talking about. And this could go badly, but this is kind of my logic on this. Is like he needs to be exposed to those people and see that there are negative ramifications for his actions. Now that might go against what I said, where it's like he's already got such a hateful. Now we're getting into hypothetical situations here, but I do think there is something to like exposing these guys because. I think the characterization that the Tates and a lot of these red pill people give, the LGBTQ community is that they're all like blue-haired weirdos. That's not the case. A lot of people are just trying to get through life. They're normal. They just have certain preferences. If my son said something like that, then maybe not drop him in a gay pride parade because that's like dropping your kid when they're a baby into the 9-foot part of the pool. But I would probably. Have him sit down and have discourse with a person who was gay after smacking him on the back of the head and saying, listen, this is because it really is the whole thing is like disillusioning the kids of this idiotic view that I hope hasn't been distilled into them by these Tate guys. But if it has, it is about distilling them and saying, all right, well, this is how life really works, right? It's not just if you're gay, you're a blue-haired weirdo. It's like there's so much in between what the Tates say and what reality is, right? Like it can't just be this way and this way. It's there are just some people that don't maybe to bring up we're not going to get too much into it, but like trans people, right? There are some I'm sure trans people that just feel like it's trendy to do so. There's some people that genuinely feel like they're just not comfortable in their own bodies and feel like a change or an operation would make things easier for them, right? There's some people that do it because they have whatever going on in their head and they, it's a way for them to cope. There is an entire spectrum of different situations in which a person might make a decision or a person might live a certain type of way, right? And what the Tates have done, is make it so that these kids have a simple view of the world, which is that these people are weirdos and that we should kill all of them and that they're, it's also extremely demoralizing and dehumanizing, but it is a very simple way of viewing the world. And so I think that's the way you got to do it, is you got to show them that there's so much life in between two people's ideals.
Yeah, I definitely get where you're coming from in terms of that, because I think sometimes, especially how we grew up, we tend to think, oh, if it's this, then it's I can only deal with black and white. I think that you do have to have room to treat everybody with a level of respect.
Yeah.
You do have to give people room.
The benefit of the doubt.
The reality of the situation is, and nobody wants to talk about it, nobody is going to agree on their ideology of life, on every aspect of life. What it has turned into now is, oh, you don't agree with me? F you, you're my enemy. It don't have to be all that way all the time. I could go down, if me and Jake sat right here right now and we went down a list of things that we agree or disagree, it's cool. That doesn't mean Jake is automatically my enemy because he disagrees with me on this. It's just how many times you talk to me and realize, oh, Everett has a very different take.
I don't think. It's funny. So we never argued about any of that, but I always just know that, like, for instance, we probably have very different views on, and I'll just go ahead and say, like, sleeping around. Like, I'm a little bit more liberal and, like, kind of, and maybe it's just I'm a younger guy and you've had more experience and you're kind of like looking less to do any of that dumb shit. But I'm kind of at a point now where I'm still figuring stuff out. That's one thing that we differ on. But it's never been something where you're gonna go there and tell someone like Jake's a man whore. Jake's this, Jake's that. Like,
I ain't going that far.
Because there's more nuance to it, and I think there's so many different. Very, very damaging things that the rhetorics of the Tates can do. But another one is, I think, and one of the biggest ones is that, like you said, they present the world as if it's black and white.
And it don't have to be a war zone just because you disagree with somebody's views or belief. It don't have to be a war zone.
Dude, think
now,
about... go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, just think about, like, this is another thing. Like, these kids that get this black and white view... Not only are they probably not going to be getting a job at any major institutions, but it's like, imagine just how scary the world is going to be to them when they figure out that it's not just black and white. that there is that gray area in between. Like, imagine how scary that would be.
Well, I mean, it's called the wake-up call at that point.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta
Like, everybody in life gets a wake-up call. I'm not saying that, you have to be, coming from a certain type of cloth to get the wake-up call. Everybody gets the wake-up call to shift, grow, and adjust. Everybody at some point in their life does that. So it's a matter of, are you going to be mature enough to handle it? Because it's going to come, and you're going to have to adjust, grow, move, or stay where you're at. One of those is going to have to give. So what I tell people is, yes, you have core morals, hold on to those, but be open to understanding and also be mindful of the fact that not everybody grew up how you grew up. So the way that you may take things is not the same way somebody's going to take other stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
So you have to be privy towards that and learn how to grow as a mature adult.
I think also, to give maybe a more positive outlook on the situation, I think another thing that will happen, hopefully, is that these kids will grow up and they will be exposed to the gray areas of life, and they will realize that, like, okay, yeah, defrauding people out of money, capitalizing on people's sadness, manipulating emotionally and physically people to do your will, that's just not cool. Right. Mm-hmm. Hopefully, a lot of these kids will wake up one day when they're, in their late teens or their late 20s. They'll get that wake up call and they'll say, "Oh, well, that was really cringy. I can't believe that. Like, I watched. Like, I had plenty of people like that. I'm like, why the fuck did I watch that guy? I remember I used to watch Onision, which I don't know if you know who that is. It's like a really creepy, weird white guy. And it turns out, like, I watched him when I was like 14.
I done seen a few of those. No, I'm playing.
Let's keep it real, Ev. Like white people are, you never. We've got the weird child molester sector down pat for some reason. Like, it's you never hear. I'm just saying, it's I don't want that to be the case, but it is unfortunately the case. I used to watch him when I was like 13, 14, and turns out, like, I check in and I'm like, how is this guy doing now? I haven't watched him in a minute. He's got like 13 underage fucking charges on, and I'm like, wow, dude. Like, that's a guy that I used to watch. That's really fucking cringy. And I watch it back now, some of the stuff that I used to be like, wow, this guy's spitting. And I'm like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? This guy's smoking crack. So hopefully it'll be something like that where these kids will grow up and they'll realize that, like, yeah, dude, you can't go on camera and say kill all gay people and expect that, like, everything is going to be fine after that,
Yeah, I'm going to tell you this. If you go on a I hate all people type of spree, you know what's going to come with that. Well, with that being said, we appreciate y'all for listening. Jake, thank you for coming through.
We got to make this. I feel like I got to just become the second co-host on the show.
That's something that we could talk about off air. That's something that we could talk
about.
Let
us know down in the pressure Ev in the comments to make that the case.
We'll see how that goes. But until then, we'll hit y'all with another episode later.